Boys and girls, Alex here with, yes, another puzzle. I bored you shitless in my shenanigans in the workshop, or tried to anyway, so I thought I'd bore you shitless with my shenanigans with the software on the computer. What I have got is most of my puzzles, rephrase that, all my SketchUp is stored on a disk or a directory or folder called SketchUps, and I have a shortcut to all my puzzles. As you can see, I've got quite a few puzzles, and for all you lucky people out there, I've got a heap of puzzles that are yet to be published. I haven't, yet to be promoted to publishing. The latest puzzle, hang on, where are we? Let's go back to this. The latest puzzle I've been working on is generically called the Japanese puzzle box. I've somehow plucked out of somewhere, and it wasn't my ass, this Himitsu-Bako name. I think it had something to, I don't know, I can't remember, but it sounded good, and I thought I'd tag it that, and I'd call it a Himitsu-Bako puzzle box. Better than Japanese puzzle box. What I did, I bought this, the plans for this box off the internet from Newton Makes. Anyway, it's an easy purchase, and to me this looked a lot like SketchUp. Well, to me it looked like SketchUp diagrams, and I asked the chap, or emailed him, to see if he could sell me the plans, or does he give them away. He turned around and told me it was made out in Fusion 360, which sounds interesting. I'd like to learn it, but hey, I'm too bloody old to go down that track. So I thought, bugger it, I'll see if I can import it into SketchUp. Well, not see, I did. I imported it into SketchUp. I have some software that will actually convert a PDF file into JPEG pictures, and I imported each page, or each page that was meaningful, into SketchUp, and then using the details within the plans, I started designing these parts, like the sides, etc. There might be a few hidden, those. I haven't got all the parts. And anyway, I then decided to start working on it. Now, while I was designing this, I somehow was thinking of the concept of using my MDF lamination method. However, I wasn't sure whether it'd work or not, so while I had it in the back of my mind, I hadn't fully adopted it. Having said that, you'll probably find that there you are, I've actually, looks as though I have adopted it. And I progressively went through converting each of his pieces into, or designing his pieces, and based it primarily on 3mm MDF thickness. And therefore, naturally, I had to make enough alterations so all these grooves and channels and everything like that were 3mm MDF, as you can see, and that was basically the puzzle. Now, I'll go into the sides, and as I said, you'll notice that he's got a lot of dados, etc. Now, I've got to admit, I was in two minds. I didn't want to make it out of solid timber, only because, not that the dados were beyond my ability. Cutting the dados wasn't. That's a saw blade, whatever. And I have got a 1/8 inch saw blade although I tend to use a thin curved blade. These little stop ends had me a bit concerned because my dodgy arm is still dodgy, and this is a year and a half later. And while I'm getting use of it, I reckon I'd be roughly about 40–50% original, maybe. I didn't feel too comfortable wielding a chisel, so I decided to go for the laser lamination version. Because it was not copyrighted, I think he had rights reserved on that, I made up this model, and I deliberately left the plans out of it because the plans are for sale, and I didn't want to sort of like, give his plans away for free. Not that I'm a goody two-shoes, but I think that's just fair. Now, this is where you'll find in the sides that I started to make alterations. I started making it into 3mm layers, and these brown bits are basically just representing dowels that join them. Now, that dowel is isn't there really because it's needed, but when you do your dado stacks or dadoing or trenches, you'll find that that would have been a little square that popped out because you'd cut that trench through there, and then you have to come up through here with a follow through, so that'd actually be a little square. Same thing down here. However, on MDF, I can't do that. I'd have to actually glue a little piece on with dowels on. And I thought, bugger it, putting a 3mm dowel in there might be easier. If worse comes to worst, what I did do is I cut 3mm sort of like dowels or cylinders out of 6mm MDF, so it could actually, I could glue it down there. Although I have found that a 3mm or 6mm dowel out of MDF broke very easily. But anyway, as I said, I've kept this lamination concept going. However, for some reason on this piece down the bottom here, this unit here, rather than do what I've done with these, I have actually made that, because all that is 3x3 glued on to the other piece with toothpick alignment. For this one, I decided I'll try this concept, and I've cut this 3mm by 6mm, so I could then glue that in, and I'd have, rather like that one has only got a 3mm gluing surface with the two toothpicks, this will give me two 3mm gluing surfaces, and I'm hoping that that would be just as stable, and it's less hassle than those bloody toothpicks. I've still got to put glue on it, but I don't have to put toothpicks in, cut them, flush, and all that shit. Anyway, moving along, I used the concept. I didn't bother with dowel alignment with these. I don't know why. I was too bloody lazy. I didn't want to. And hopefully when I do the actual video of making it, you'll see why I chose not to, because I found that I could actually, make them up. I'm actually making this video here now, after I've made the video about the build, so I know what I've done. So there you are. Anyway, this is the build. What I've done is, God, I've got to keep track of the time. I don't want to make this a long video. I've incorporated the solution in this, as always, in the SketchUp diagram. Normally what I do is, in the solution, the part that is about to be moved, I colour green, highlighted with an arrow in the direction of the move. Then the next frame, that color, that item would be colored red to signify its resting place, and the next piece to be moved would be colored green with the appropriate arrow. However, because I digress from that concept, and I've used this concept of saying green, and that's what's going to happen in this frame. But from then on, what I've actually done is highlighted the piece that has been moved, and the arrow gives me the direction of which way it was moved. So really this time it's the green signifies the piece that was in action and where the direction it was moved and where it finished up. Like this one here means the lid has been moved and it's finally resting there, which gives it enough room to bring this piece up. But anyway, that's beside the point. Well, there you are. It shows you. This item comes out and that lets that piece go up. By that coming up, it permits, by letting this piece come down, you can now move the lid out, move the tray, etc., etc. Now this is the parts there. Now actually you'll find the the camera is parallel projection front on. So it's really a 2D representation of what is going to be sent to the laser. This is the overall the parts that get sent. However, I have then subdivided them into each individual components. This piece here, remember I mentioned to you I did a 3x2 item. This is going to be my laser 6mm. As you can see, it's and I also actually I'll go back to the sides. This is version 2. In version 1, this piece down here consisted of 2 pieces. One because that channel, in fact, both of those, both of them consisted of 2 pieces because that dado would have come straight through, which means I had to secure a larger piece here, a larger piece here, and 2 smaller pieces here. However, this one, being on an edge, I could make it a 6mm piece, much like this one. Actually, I could have done the same thing with this. Why the hell I didn't, I've got no idea. Don't ask me why. And in fact, I probably could have done the same thing with that. In fact, hey, maybe next version I might change. No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to make enough of them. Anyway, that's basically where it stood. Now, what I would then do is save this and click on this button here, which would drag me into layout. I'm not going to save this. However, I will call this back up again. And let's just say I've just saved it. I now go into layout. I pick the Speedy 100 laser bed, which is 300 by 600. Now, I don't particularly want this part. What I want is laser sides part. What I then do is and this is where layout is so important. I do a preserve scale, and then I make it a 1mm to 1mm. So I actually do a 1:1 diagram. I get rid of this background color, and I change the raster to vector, which is makes it a much neater thing. And I go through this with all the scenes that have to go to the laser all along there. And I create new pages. Then, one of the things I do like about this is it allows you to print a PDF. And I basically printed the PDF out. However, to keep things normal, I'm going to, God, I'm doing this all the wrong way. I didn't want to. This is a layout. And for anybody that happens to do a similar thing, I've actually texted or typed in the text of what each of these were, so I can then pass that across to CorelDRAW. However, CorelDRAW doesn't seem to like the format of this text in layout, and it gives me an invalid paste. So what I do is I actually print to, where is it? Here we go. Print to a PDF, and that's why I use Kofax as my PDF editor as opposed to Acrobat, and I print to that. And that way, when I go into CorelDRAW, and let's start up CorelDRAW, create a new one, custom Speedy 100. Control M I have for import. I'm importing this Kofax. Page 1. And that you can see now, if I didn't, like, I'll show you. If I try and import the one without the Kofax, which is box, that, page 1, it comes back and says file is corrupted. It took me a long time to figure out why. Anyway, what I'll do is it brings in all this shit that I'm not interested in. I don't know what it does or whatever. However, over the time I've realised that right at the bottom, these ones, hang on, what I'll do is I'll get up there and I'll ungroup everything. Now these particular ones that haven't got any little squiggly things against them are the parts out of that PDF that I am interested in. I can delete the rest, and if I now colour these red, as you can see, these are the bits I'm interested in. And as you can see, oops, not that one. I don't know why. There should be 2 of these. Or when I say 2, there should be actually 4 of these little units. It only gave me 1. I don't know what happened to the other one. So normally what I would do, oops, come here. I'd create another one, and that'd make up my set. And as you can see, this is where I get all my overlays. Like that would overlay there. That actually, if you align the dowels, oh come on. Oh, look, I'm not going to bore you shitless with it. But then what you finish up doing is sending this, and look, I'll get into the one I have actually done. Again, version 2. No, that's the backup. Here we are with the sides. I've actually split them up, and I've colorize them for the order of cutting. You see, like my laser follows a sequence of color cutting. Like red goes first, followed by blue, followed by, I think, cyan, followed by green, then magenta, or the ones I pick. Now, the reason why I do that is if I happen to cut out this cyan first and the MDF happens to be a little bit warped, it might drop, you know, that half a mil or 1 mil. And then when it goes to cut the red circles, it might have dropped, but let's just say it's hanging on there and it's only dropped on that side. So it would actually cut those red circles on a bit of an angle. Look, it might be insignificant, but this way, if I cut the red circles out first, when it drops, the circles have already been cut. And then we go through that just for if I just want to do this gives me a full set. I just want to do the face. Now, what I've done, I'll go into further along here. If you have a look at this, I'll hide the engrave. The face of it, that's how it gets cut out. Now, if I engrave the face in one go, continually without all these separations there, and there's I body fill this, the laser will not cut through this body filler. It'll cut through concrete quicker than it'll cut through this bloody wood filler. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Now, if I then laser engrave it and cut it out before I wood fill it, you're now looking at a raw edge where I'm trying to maintain this body filler. So I need this rim of MDF to retain the body filler. So that's how this actually, that's why this is set up this way, because they're three separate parts. You'll find like if I get into the top, that's just one piece. So it's one piece. And the way I do all this is I've set up this grid. And what I do, it's on page 1, engrave pattern. I've just got this pattern that I've got a small square of the internet and expanded it, extended it so that it'll fit the biggest piece I require. What I've then done, that's the engrave pattern, I've imported those or drew up those cut lines. This is now the cut lines that I used to make the front of the box. I put that across it. Then with the knife, I can go along. Oh, hang on. Make sure I make this the active area. Cut along there. I'll cut along there. And look, I'll just cut along here. And you'll now see that I can then oh, look, I might as well cut this piece while I'm at it. Naturally, I wouldn't be, whoops. Oh, come on. Why? Yeah. I wouldn't have deleted all the other pieces. I'd cut them all out in one go and then delete the pieces. But that would be the piece I'd keep. And then I'd finish up putting a border around that. And that is the piece, well, actually, that's a piece that I'd finish up. Oh, look, without confusing you, Matt, this is how I play around with it until I get the right size that I can then finish up with this pattern. Naturally, that has to be kept within the confines of these borders, so I've got this nice little rim around that. The next step would be, I've got the dimensions of this, the dimensions of the page as opposed to the actual diagram. The dimensions of that is a bit smaller than the page, so I finish up with a bit of a wasted space of MDF, but I don't care. 9674, print, current page, the Trotrek engraver, width 9674, and I'm making it out of 3mm MDF. This 2E1C means it does a 2 engrave pass, and I do that so I can get the depth of engraves to body fill, and of course a 1 cut pass. I don't need more than 1 pass. In fact, I don't think you can actually make more than 1 cut pass. Oh, you can, but you can't change what you're cutting. It just cuts twice over the same area, and you can get a bit of extra depth from that. Okay, we print that off. It invokes the job control, which is the laser, our proprietary laser software. Oh, come on. I hate this. I always double click. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh, shit. There it is. What I will then do is I go and save that, save as, and I'll save it as a particular thing. And then I can go to my laser room and load this up and cut it. Print it and cut it or whatever. And then, of course, it's off to the workshop or around at my computer desk for the glue-ups and the follow-up activity. And that's it, boys and girls. Hope I haven't bored you totally shitless, but that is the process of the software of getting that puzzle to the or off the laser. Then it's a matter of putting it together. That's it. Catch you later.